Phoenix Books presents
Dragondrums by McCaffrey. The rumble-thud boom of the big drums answering a message from the east roused Piemur. In his 5 turns at the Harper Craft Hall, he had never become accustomed to that bone-throbbing noise. As he tried to get back to sleep for just a little longer in the gray dawn, the drum sequence echoed in his mind. The message had originated from Ista Hold's Harper. He couldn't be sure of the rest of the message, something about a ship. Maybe he should learn message drum beats. Not that they came in with much frequency, now that more and more people owned little fire lizards to take the messages round and about Pern. He wondered when he'd get his hands on a fire lizard egg. Menely had promised him one when her queen, Beauty, mated. A nice thought on her part, Piemur reflected, realistically aware that Menely might not be able to distribute Beauty's eggs as she wished. One day, though, he'd have his fire lizard. A queen, or at least a bronze. Piemur folded his hands behind his head, musing on such a delightful prospect. Everyone wanted a fire lizard. People thought that they must be tiny cousins to the great dragons of Pern. Piemur shivered with delighted terror. Thread had fallen over Fort Hold yesterday. He imagined the graceful passages of the great dragons as their fiery breath charred Thread before it could fall to the ground and devour anything living, before it could burrow into the ground and multiply. The sudden raucous call of a fire lizard startled him, and he sat up in alarm. He had fallen asleep again. If Rocky was screaming, he was late to help feed. With deft movements, he dressed and thudded down the steps. When he saw Camo was only just trudging up the steps outside the kitchen, clutching his bowl of scraps, Piemur drew a sigh of relief. He wasn't all that late. "Camo feed pretties?" The kitchen drudge smiled brightly as Menely and Piemur reached him. "Camo feed pretties," Menely and Piemur spoke the customary reassurance in chorus, grinning at each other as they reached for handfuls of meat scraps. Once they had eaten, the fire lizards wheeled up for their morning stretch of wings. Then Piemur, Menely, and Camo separated. Piemur's first class that morning was chorus, for they were rehearsing the spring music for Lord Grogy's feast. Piemur was to sing the part of Lessa. For once he didn't object to having to sing a female part. In fact, he waited eagerly for his first entrance. The time came, he opened his mouth, and to his amazement no sound emerged. "Wake up, Piemur," said Master Domick irritably. "We'll repeat the measure before the entrance. If you're now ready, Piemur." The chorus gave him his entrance, and he opened his mouth. The sound that emerged ranged from one octave to another, neither of which were in the score he held. A complete and awed silence fell. Master Domick frowned at Piemur, who was now swallowing a...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?